Hey guys, today we are going to do the Zino mod, a different Zino mod, and this one's going to be to add the option to use another battery, and this is the XT-60 connector. That's what we're going to be adding to the quad. And then here's your battery. It's a Turnigy Multi-Star 3000 mAh 3S 11.4. It's the high voltage multi-rotor battery is what it says, and of course it's an LIHV. It matches the specs of the Zino battery with everything except for the Zino battery is an 8C and this is a 10C. It's as far off as it gets. The Zino battery is 3000 mAh 11.4 3S, and that's exactly what this is here. So hopefully we have a good match here. I have not tried this. Everything I'm doing has not been tried yet, so we're going to learn how to do it together. So first thing, just to show you, let's go ahead and open the arms up. Kind of hard on this mat, but just to show you. The quad's working with the Zino battery, just in case anything goes wrong and it's not working anymore after that. This one does have the issue of no Wi-Fi, so that's why we're using it as a guinea pig. I myself do not need to use any other battery other than the Hubsan battery, but I do know that there are plenty of people out there that in other countries just can't get the Hubsan battery. So what your quad comes with and maybe an extra battery might be all you ever have, and it might be way too expensive, might take way too long, or just you cannot get the battery delivered to your country. So then options like this are your next step. So we'll use this as a guinea pig and show you how to do it. So let's turn it off. Take the Zino battery out. And show you how to take this apart. So what we're going to do is, the first part is we're going to take this cover off. Now they don't give you much room in here to get this off. Generally you want a couple things, two couple small screwdrivers, flathead screwdrivers like this. I don't have a second one on me, but I'm using the vent to get underneath here. Once I can get underneath here, I can pop it off. It's not real easy. This is probably the hardest part. Let me try this razor knife here. There we go. So now I can get under there. Once I can get under there, it just snaps, and you want to do it carefully. Okay, so there we go. It's just 8 little tabs that snap in place and come right off. So we'll put that aside. Now you have this button. Just remove the button. It just sits there. All right. So then you have these screws here in the back. You're going to have some underneath the front, but you have these stickers here, and I've already removed mine before. I've had this apart once to do the video showing you guys the inside. Now you remove these are just little stickers, and I'm only going to remove them that far so they stay in perfect alignment for putting them back on. I don't think they're going to go on all that great because I've already removed them once. Okay. So we have these stickers. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and take mine off because I know they're not going to go back good. I've got some really good vinyl, white vinyl, and I'm going to put that on. But don't forget to take that tab off. That tab covers up the screw right there. So I'm not going to use that anymore. I really think that's a pretty cheap, lousy way to go. If you ever have to open this up or do this mod, that's the one thing that just doesn't go back that great. These are sticky tabs as well. They have an adhesive on the back of them. They do stick. Now I can't get it off my finger. Okay, so there you have those screws there, and then you have those screws there. We're going to hold off and get the ones underneath first. So we're going to remove the gimbal cover, and then if you can see good, hopefully, I'm going to move this up some. Oops, wrong way. Okay, you can see good here. I'm going to try to keep this hand out of the way as much as possible for you guys. You're going to remove one screw here, and then you're going to remove a screw here and a screw here. Once you do, this plastic bracket and then this plastic bracket, they work as gimbal guards, but they're also kind of like brackets. Once you take those 3 screws out, these brackets all come out. So I'm going to flip it upside down like this and take those screws out. And I'm using one of the screwdrivers I got from Hubsan just to show you guys they do work well. I have other fancier screwdrivers with nice grips and things like that, but I'm just showing you just in case your only option is one of the Hubsan screwdrivers. These are all the Hubsan screwdrivers. So now let's take the 3rd screw out. There it is. And let's see if I got any of these empty here. Yeah, stick them in there. And remove that cover or bracket. And let's remove the other one from the back. Screws are still in there. I'm going to turn this camera a little bit too. Okay. So now we have all the screws out of the front nose. There's only, I think, 2 more that need to be removed underneath. And that's right here, and another one on the other side. Okay, and flip it over. There's one. The other one stayed up in there. We'll let it stay. It'll come out eventually. So now, going to remove the two in the back. And any screw that you take out that is different, you're going to want to put it in different places. I've got these little pockets here where I can put screws. But you're going to want to keep them separated, I guess. I know exactly what screw goes where now because I've already had this apart. Now we're taking the shoulder screws out. And it comes with this little white collar. And the collar stayed in place. That's where these come in handy. They're very small, very sharp. It's actually a surgical scalpel. My brother works at a hospital, so I get an endless supply of scalpels. So there's that one with the screw. The screw is different than the other ones. So we should, if I recall, be able to take this all off now. Yes. So now when you take this off, you can only lift a little bit because you have to unplug your GPS, which is right under here. There's the plug for it. And then your geomagnetic compass, which is right here. And let me look at the camera and see if you can see that. I want to try to make this as good and clear for you guys as possible. So simply want to unplug that. Now it's going to have a white glue on it, and that's where a little scalpel or razor knife come in handy to score it. And then the glue will break loose. Same goes for the back. You'll score it. The glue will break loose. I've already had mine undone before, so they should come out easy. And there you have it. That's the top. So we can put that aside. So this is almost as far as we really need to go. There's just a couple more things to take off this board, and I think we'll go ahead and take this one off to be safe. But this is your power board, and it plugs in right here with this ribbon cable. Mine's already been undone. I did not reseal it, so it just unsnaps. So we're going to unsnap that, and then the rest is just removing the gyro sensor, this cover plate, and then the main board comes out. So we're going to remove two screws here in the back. It's nice to have a magnetic screwdriver in this case when you're dealing with small screws. And I have a very large magnet that I usually just kind of stick my tools to. Plus this pad has a magnetic area that I can set them on, and it'll keep the magnets energized. And then we have this little cover here. It's got a screw on both sides. They usually stay inside here. You just need to loosen them up. Yeah, let's flip it over and see if they fall out. Okay, so they'll stay in there, and I'm just going to leave them in there. Now, I'm not going to unplug this. I'm just going to leave it as is, and we're going to just pull it aside and take this cover off. Okay, so we took this cover off, put it aside. Now we have two screws up here in the very front, here and here, and then you have a plug here and a plug here for your gyro and camera. Get your fingernail down in there and pop those off. Again, they've got some coating on them, and on that coating you can just simply lightly score it. You don't want to cut down into the board. Once you lightly score it, you can pop them right off. Okay, so you just want to be careful with all those kind of things. These ribbon cables are delicate, and they're not terrible. You don't have to treat them like tissue paper or anything, but they are sensitive. So this is going to be our last screws to take out for the board. Which are giving me a hard time. Okay, so now the board is ready to come out. You just want to lift the board up a little bit. You don't want to just pull the board right out. There's something I forgot, but we can still do it. So when you take the board out, as you see, mine came unplugged right away. But what I wanted to show you was, let's do it this way. You want to unplug these antennas. Now, this is another area you have to be careful. You want to be careful with this cover, but this cover has to come off. So I'm going to the corners of it, and I'm just kind of prying a little bit because it just snaps in place. I'm just kind of separating it a little. I'm trying not to hit my board or anything like that. Get my thumb under it. It's not separated enough. The area I'm trying to separate is the side here. They've got these little snap tabs. There we go. Got that side. Now we got that side. Okay, so what you want to do normally, what you want to do is remove that and then unplug. Hopefully you can see this. You've got your two antenna connections right there. So you want to get your fingernail in there and carefully just unplug those. Can't get my nail under there. There we go, I got it. I having a hard time getting my fingernails under there. So again, this tool comes in handy. There we go. So now our antennas are loose. And then normally what you're going to do is you're going to come out sideways. You're going to be lifting the board like this, because the plug that I showed you earlier is plugged in right here. And then what you'll do is you'll reach in and you'll pop it loose. But as you see, mine came off already because I had already broken the glue. So there's your board. Be careful with this guy here. Just put it back like that. And let's set the board aside somewhere safe. Okay. So now we're back to, if you watched my other video, we're back to the guts here. Not much in there. pretty basic and pretty simple inside here. Now we're going to take off this little circuit board here that has the power button. 2 screws. Okay, there's that board. Screw wants to stay in there. Put that board right up there. And now with that done, we have another bracket right here. And since that has been screws have been removed, you can simply take that bracket out. And that gives us this board here, which is where your battery connection is. Now this is where I think it's going to be difficult because I don't have any room underneath it. I need to connect my positive and negative underneath here. I don't see any other way of doing it up top, and I don't want to disturb this from the board. So we really can't take up too much space underneath there, but we're going to try to solder some wires to that and see if we can still get this back down in place. That's the big challenge for this. So if that doesn't work, we might have to come up with something a little different. So what I'm going to plan on here is you've got a side plate here and a side plate here. I want to remove one of those side plates. It's just 2 screws. I want to remove one, drill my hole in the side of it, and then run my wire out the side. So these wires have a pretty thick gauge, and we'll just lay them underneath there and see if we can lay this back down in place without having any problems before we go and try and solder this. So this is either going to work or this is going to be our roadblock. Let's take that side. I'd prefer it to come out the left back. So I'm going to take this off. And I think that should lift off. It's all connected with that. I don't know if this is more stickers or if that will snap off. It looks like they'll probably snap off. Let's try carefully. I have not had that off yet. I don't know if a screw runs all the way down through there or not. Can't tell. Doesn't feel like it wants to snap off though. Yep, something's holding that good. So underneath here, I don't think that screw has anything to do with it, but let's pop this little plate here off. I'm gonna have to block the camera a little bit here. There we go. Pop that off. Now we're gonna take this bottom shoulder screw off. Okay, and I'm thinking this is going to snap off now. Like I said, I have not been to this part yet where I take these back ones off. You see little slider tabs there. There's no way. I will say Hubsan did a good job covering this guy up with not making it real easy. I don't want to pry that like that, but something's got us held in place. This has got to come off. I'm going to close this up in the back anyhow, so it's easier to hold. Voila. Tiny little screw. And I do think a smaller screwdriver might be needed. Let's see. Now I feel stupid. Okay, so all we need to do is take this tiny little booger out. And then if you remember these two screws here, oh, look at that, like magic. So now we want to just do a fitment here, and we'll pretend like these are up underneath the board and soldered. So what we're going to do is we're going to slide that front piece back in, and we're going to put these under the board just like they're soldered to make sure everything fits. And as long as it goes all the way back that way, and put that aside, that bracket goes back into place, we should be, where is it? We should be okay. And it does. So I think we're going to be good here. It is elevated. And I don't see a problem putting this board here back in place. So I think we are going to be good. There's nothing for any of that to hit, but maybe when we're done we'll put some protection over top of just this edge here. As far as I can tell though, nope, we got clearance. So even if this touches a little bit, so we're good. So yeah, let's give it a shot here. I've already got the soldering iron plugged in. Good, I'm excited. I think this might work. So we are going to just tilt this up like this. Don't be afraid of these wires, they're not that delicate. Strip these. Now here's where you will need to know how to solder. If you do not know how to solder, this is not a good mod for you. Now, you don't need very much wire showing. I've already taken off too much, so I'm going to cut them down some. If you have too much showing, it could end up touching another wire, so it's just not needed. So all we need is enough to solder. Okay, that's all you need. Just a nub. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put some flux on the end of these wires. This stuff here. Just going to dip them. Just to get them a little coating. And we're going to get some solder on them. Try to do this so you guys can see, because I really would like to teach you how to solder. But let's see if we can actually do this with the camera still catching it. Don't hold your solder over top like that. Oh no, soldering iron's not even on. Alright, I'm going to set this down. Thought I turned on my soldering iron, guys, but I didn't. rookie. So I'm going to pause this and turn on soldering iron, let it heat up, and I will be back. Okay, so our soldering iron is heated up. And what we want to do is we want to just get a little bit of solder on these wires. There's already some solder here on the board, but we want to get some on these. Now, I just want to show you. I got a paint marker here, and I'll show you. Hopefully I got it primed up. I can see some ink. So, just so you know, the positive and negative I've got marked on this battery. I think you can see. Bring it down a little. Okay, right here is positive. This is negative. And on the Zino, it's these outside ones. So we're going to be positive here, negative here. So I'm going to put, that's dry. I was going to mark it for you, but nothing's going right today. But this is your positive one here. This is your negative one here. And then your two center ones are your other two balance wire leads. This one here and this one here, there's no voltage on those. So let's get a little bit of solder on our wires. We are going to put some on the soldering iron first. Again, don't hold it directly over your quad because it does drip down. Okay, see, we have a little solder there. We're just going to get it on the wire. Just like that. Okay, now this one. Just coat it with a little bit. You don't want it all big and clumpy. Okay, so now we have them coated. And I'm going to try to do this on the board where you can still see it. It's pretty difficult because I don't have the room I need to keep it in the camera. I'm going to try. Okay, so let's hook up our positive. And that's where tweezers come in handy, because I can hold them and maybe keep my hands out of the way. And see if we can get this to stick. Doing my soldering iron with my left hand, that's not so easy. Okay, stuck. Alright, so our positive is connected. I'm going to bring it over here like that, and now we're going to try to do our negative. I'm going to put a little more on my soldering iron here. And I apologize, guys, but I'm trying to keep my hand out of the way. And I'm trying to solder left-handed. Which in this case I can switch to my right hand, keep it out of the way. Okay, let's stick her on there. And we're soldered. So now I just want to check my joints, make sure they're not connected. Yeah. So I don't know if you can tell, but we're clear. So now the trick is getting it to lay back down. And this is just a test run. I still got to take the wires back off because of the way I'm going to run them, and you'll see why. But I'm going to have to cut the wire, and I'm going to have to route it through that side panel that I took off. So I want to be careful here. Lay these wires down. Okay, so you can see I have my red coming around here, my black coming around there, and push that board all the way up in place and lay it down, and we have clearance. I think we're going to be okay like this. I don't foresee any problem. So now what I've got to do is I'm going to shorten my black wire and then resolder it to the board, but I have to take both these off the board because we need to drill a hole in the side of this, put it back in place, run the wire through it, and then I'm going to stick one of these grommets, rubber grommets, on the side to protect the wire. So now I'm going to go ahead and undo the board again, unsolder these, and then I'll solder them back on. But I need to shorten this black wire because I want to keep these wires even like this. So we're going to shorten that wire up about 1/4 inch. So let's take the red off first. Okay, take the black off. And maybe I'll edit some of this out so we can shorten this video up. But I'm going to shorten this black wire about that far. And strip it. Okay. Put some flux on it. Put some solder on it. That's one of the most important parts to know about soldering, is putting some solder on the wires first. A lot of people hold it up there and try to hold solder on there, and then you need 3 or 4 hands. It just makes it difficult. So I'm just going to set this in place here to keep it out of the way. What's under there? Okay. To keep that out of the way, and let's focus on this side plate. Okay, so I've got, like I said, a drill bit and a grommet. We're going to put this back down into place and see where I need to drill it. I'm going to mark it. Okay, so it looks like putting it kind of high is going to be the best spot. So we're going to drill it after I put a little mark on it, and we're going to drill it right there. And we just want to make sure our grommet isn't going to be too high on there. So I'll go a little low of that. So I've got 2 drill bits. One's a smaller one I'm going to try first, which is 15/64. Get my drill, and I'm going to drill a hole in this. Sorry if you can't see because I'm doing it on the side. Okay. Alright, so I've drilled a hole. Clean it up a little bit. And let's see if the grommet fits. Probably won't. I'll probably have to go one more size up. Yeah. Let's go up one more hole size for that. This bit here is, can't read it, 9/30 seconds. Just gonna drill it out. And let's see if the grommet fits now. Is there a thinner side? Nope. Pop the grommet in there. You want the grommet to fit kind of tight because then it's going to hug the wire even more. So and of course somebody's calling me. If you're hearing that vibration, it's I'm using my DJI camera, but it's attached to my phone, the Osmo, so my brother's actually calling me. Perfect timing. Alright, now we got it. So, goodness gracious. Alright. So right here we have the grommet in place. That'll make it nice and neat, and it'll also protect the wire. So we're going to push our wires up through here. Let me take a break here real quick. Okay. So back where we were. Sorry, I had to take a little pause. But you see I shortened that wire. So hopefully it'll be nice and neat on the outside, won't have it bunched up. So I'm going to pull this up out of the way for now. And I'm going to give you a link to these grommets. I got them on Amazon. It's a whole kit. It's way more than what you need, but you could probably find something a little more less than the big kit that I bought. So let's see if we can solder this back in place. Try it this way so we can see. Okay, black is on, red next, nice and tight, not going anywhere. See, when you learn how to solder, it's so easy. So don't, anybody that's afraid of soldering or just intimidated, don't worry about it. It's really not hard. So we want to keep these routed to where they're not on top of each other because we don't have the clearance that we really need. But we're going to slide that back out. So our battery leads are right there. I'm too far over. It does go back tighter. Okay. You want to make sure it's nice closed gap right here. You don't want it to be sticking back. You want it to be all the way forward. And then we're going to press the board down, and I think what I might do is I might put a little hot glue in place to assure, because the only thing that holds this board down is our plastic bracket, if you recall. I'm going to bring this wire on the other side, like that. So I might hold this down, pop a little hot glue down on the center of it. Yeah. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold this down. There's a tab right there. I'm going to put some hot glue on it. And I've already got my hot glue gun heated up just in case I needed to do that. Get the glue on there. And let's let that harden up. You got to keep holding it down. Get that glue to harden nice. Okay, so our glue is hard now. That board's held down in place. And we're going to put this piece here back. And it just slides down into place. It helps if I turn it around. There we go. Slides down into place like that. And that's pretty good. I'm happy with this. The only thing you want to watch out for is this one screw hole right here. Bring your wire around it. See how my wire's coming around it? And there's my red wire. Nice and neat. I don't think you have to worry about pulling it out, but it wouldn't hurt to put some hot glue on that grommet. I'm not going to worry about it, but it wouldn't hurt to dab a little bit of glue down inside there. I'm not going to do it just in case I have to take it back apart if this doesn't go right. So you might want to make sure everything is connected properly. So let's put those two screws back into place. Put that screw in place. Hope this works. I should be hooking up the battery right now and checking it to be sure. After we get these screws in place, maybe we'll do that. Well, I need my power button and all that hooked up. That was stupid. I'm going on like 4 hours sleep, guys, so bear with me. Don't want to forget these are in the way or hidden. Alright, so I'm happy with this so far. Let's start hooking everything back up. Let's put this bracket back in place, like so. That'll help hold the board as well. Then we need to put our little start button back on. There's two little dimples, one here and one here. The board will snap onto those and line up. Put our screws in. Okay. All right, so that's all back in place. Okay, there's where we are right now. And we can start putting the other board back in. This is where it gets a little bit tricky. Because it's going to be hard for me to show you. Let's get this set to where hopefully you can see it. But what we're going to do is hold this board like this, and we're going to gently plug this back in. You just want to wiggle it around, and then you'll feel it snap into place. I think I'm in. Yep, I felt it snap into place. Now, you're going to want to probably see if I can expose it so you can see it. You're probably going to want to put some glue on both sides of it to be safe. But again, I'm not going to go and worry about that. So what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that's snapped into place. Then you got to keep these out. Probably wouldn't hurt to just tape them off because they are kind of flopping around and getting in the way. But you want to hold these two up. Bring your board down. Get these wires up front. There. Bring your board down. And let them lay on top. So now I'm just going to take my tweezers and kind of poke everything where I want it. Okay. Remember, you want your antenna wires on that side there near the vent, not in here, or they'll get pinched by that little divider. So it looks like it's good. Just double check, take something and make sure they're pressed down out of the way. So everything's sitting nice and flat. Let's screw the board in now. This really isn't a hard modification to do. I know I am fumbling along the way, but again, this is the first time I've done it. So you can learn by my little fumbling and mistakes. Okay. We're going to need to put that protective cover on too. So now we want to start plugging stuff back on. Be careful with that, please. So let's hook this one up. Sorry if you can't see that, but some of these things are just too hard to videotape. I'll try. We're just snapping that in place. And you want to be careful. You don't want to damage the end of those, because then if you do, they won't snap back in place. There you go. I've got that one marked black to black. They're both Wi-Fi antennas. It doesn't really matter, but that's where I'm just kind of particular. I like everything to go back the way it was, if possible. Okay. They're both snapped back on. Now let's put the metal cover back on. And when you put the metal cover back on, you want to rebend it back a little bit so it snaps into place. Don't push it too far or it won't snap. But you want to get... Guys, I'm sorry. I hope I'm doing a good job here in keeping my hands out of the way. Put the back on first. Snap, snap, snap. We're back in business. And it protects your wires. Okay, that's hooked up. Now we can hook this one up here. And I just move it around until I get it to snap in place. You don't want to force it. You can damage those little connectors. This one I might not be able to show you because I need to be able to see it. Okay. I think we're back in place. Yep, it's snapped right back in spot. And again, put a little glue there and there. I'll show you. This stuff is pretty good. Liquid tape. It's like electrical tape, except it's just a liquid. And you'll want to use a tiny paintbrush, not the one that comes with it. But you just stick a little paintbrush in there and dab it on there. And it'll hold your connections in place, and it dries super fast. And it's easy to take off. So now let's plug in these ones for the gimbal. Try to make you be able to see here. Again, you want to be real careful with all these. That one went right in. This one I gotta push back a little bit. That one's on. Okay. Yep. I can see my old marks. It's lined up there, lined up here. My little markings are all lined up from where the old glue was. But again, just make sure with your fingers that they're snapped in place. And then you can put glue here, 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 and here on the sides. So now we're going to put the protective cover back on and put these screws back in place. And it's right here. Lay this off to the side. A little too far back. And these get in the way too. If you do it like this, they'll lay down. And that'll kind of snap into place. The front really won't lay down tight until you put the cover on, but this back part snaps into place. Oops, I'm sorry. Put those screws in first. Good thing is I'm human and I make these little mistakes, but they're not hurting anything. In the end, you're going to have the same result. Hopefully this is going to work. Push it down, snap. Okay, and we can bring this guy here back. You want to make sure the cable's going the same way it was, not twisted after we moved it around so many times. Okay, tighten her up. I don't know if I'm lined up right or not. Yep. These screws are real fine threads, so it feels like you're turning forever. I don't think that one's lined up. Nope. Now it is. Okay. Tight. Don't have to lock all this stuff down super tight. Okay. And inside there is your gyro sensor. Okay. It's nice and straight. You want to make sure it's nice and straight in there. It's not crooked, it's not loose. You'll get really bad behavior in flight if it is. Alright, so everything is hooked up except for the cover. There's nothing else that we need to put in there. So what we want to do is hold the cover this way. Hopefully you can see. Hold the cover this way. Plug that in. Plug that in. And you can apply glue again on those to hold them in place. Again, I'm not going to. But we are going to make sure nothing is in the way and lay this back in there. Okay. Put our screws in the back, screws in the shoulder. Hope this works. Okay, our shoulder screws. I call these shoulders, they're joints, whatever you want to call them. Tighten them down. Just nice and snug. You don't have to lock everything down real hard. Put that one on. Put the screw back in place. Tighten up. Okay. Now let's put our power button back on. Okay. It's back in place. And we can put the black cover back on. Snaps in place. And then after that we have all the screws underneath, but since we have everything hooked up, let's double check and let's see if this battery works. So let's plug it in. Fingers crossed, guys, fingers crossed. I think you can see it pretty good right here. Look at that. It works. No smoke. Okay. Unhook it. Let's make sure the Zino battery still works. Put this in. Wonderful. How you like that? What a nice mod. Now, I'm going to show you a couple things. After I finish putting the rest of the screws in, you'll notice you have this bottom, and that battery could flop down like that. We don't want that. So I'm going to show you what I came up with for this and how to keep the battery from falling out that way. So let's get the rest of these screws in and I'll show you those little pieces of information. Put this back. Tighten that down. Put this back on. Snaps right into place. Gonna help it along a little bit so I don't break the tab. I'm just gonna press that tab in. It's not lined up. Get that side all the way in. Press that tab in. There we go. So it's all on. Now that little tiny screw right there. That little sucker, I forgot all about it. That gave us a hard time in the beginning, but we got it. Now let's put our front pieces back in. The screws are still in this, if you remember. It goes on like this. And just kind of plop it down in there. Tighten it up. Tighten one down and tighten the other one down a little at a time, and then lock them down a little snugger. Snug. Snug. And let's get this piece here in. Now this one's not easy to get the screw into place, so let's go ahead and okay, I've gone ahead and started that screw. That way it's a lot easier. Once you have it in place, you can't drop that screw down in there. And if you got tweezers, that helps too. Hold the camera back. And it's got a track. Oh my gosh, this is a pain in the butt today. Trying to do this so you guys can see, but some things I just gotta block. There. And tighten it down. Okay. I'm gonna put the gimbal cover back on. And show you what we need to do for the battery bay. I am very happy that this worked out. And for the shoulders, you can put those stickers back on. These have a little bit of stickiness to them. And then I'm gonna cut a piece of vinyl and put over top of those shoulders. I'm not gonna use the originals. Or you could simply leave it like that. To me, it doesn't bother me. But here's what we're going to do. Now we have the problem of this open hole. You don't want to put anything permanent there because then your battery needs to come in and then your battery is going to get blocked. So what we're going to do, want to make sure, yeah, that one battery feels like it's, this battery already feels like it's a little bit swollen. Goes in a little bit tighter, like it's pressing out. And we'll see. Anyhow, what we're going to do is we're going to do two things. We're going to add Velcro, and we're going to put a temporary bottom inside the quad. So this is the thinnest part of the Velcro, and we're going to put that Velcro right inside. Make it stick. Okay, and your battery will still go into place. I already tried this out. Your battery will still go in and snap with that Velcro in place. Okay, now we want to take the other Velcro and you want to put that on your battery. So our battery is going in like this. So we're putting it right on the butt, and that should work. Bring the battery in. It works. That's not going to come out during flight. That's all it takes, a little Velcro. But you need to put your bottom in. I cut a piece off of the box, and it slides in there snug, so it won't fall out. See, it's tight. Let's go this way so we can have our Hubsan show a little better. It's a little looser that way, but it's okay. So now we have a closed bay. It's not permanent. We can slide our battery in, and that piece of box made it a little tighter. The battery doesn't wiggle around. Okay, snug in there. Let's press this wire up inside. Okay, and then we come around here, and the only other thing we're going to have to make sure is that we're clear of our props. But if that's a problem, then all you need to do, which I should do anyhow, let's do that. I'm just going to take this, put a zip tie on it. Okay, there's a zip tie. Clip it. And plug it in. That way it's out of the way. There's no way your props are going to hit that. So go, guys. Alright, so I've got everything cleaned up. Give you a good view here. You can still close the arm. It touches the wire, won't hurt anything. There's a final look at the battery. Unplug it. Pull. There's your battery. Upside down. Okay. Velcro on the back. Slide that out. Take your Hubsan battery. Snaps in place. Everything's good. This wire will just stay there. So the only thing you're going to want to watch out for is that it's not in the way of your prop. Worst case scenario is you're going to want to put something to keep it down, or Velcro it to the top, something. That's just a minor thing. Or you can run it somewhere else, but I think that's pretty nice and clean right there. I think that looks good. And that'll do it, guys. That is the Zino battery mod. Again, this is a Turnigy 3000 mAh 3S 11.4 volt 10C, and it's an exact match of the Zino battery, except the Zino battery is a 8C. So that's it. Hopefully this works good for you guys, and if you have any questions or comments, feel free to post them, and use care when doing this. Do it at your own risk. If you mess it up because you made a bad contact and you fry your board out or anything like that, I'm not responsible. I'm responsible for showing you how to do this, but I'm not responsible for showing you how to do it wrong. But that's how you do it, and like I said, just leave a comment at the bottom if you have any questions, and hopefully I can answer them for you. And please click that like button. I would appreciate it. This took a little bit of time, and it's not something that I need personally. I'm doing it just for those people that can't get to the Hubsan battery and want another option. So I'm taking my time to help you guys out, and hope you'll give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will try my best to keep bringing you content like this. Thanks a lot, and I'll talk to you next time.